Phaedra Parks, a name that has become synonymous with boldness, resilience, and unapologetic truth-telling, once again made headlines, not for a fiery courtroom argument, a reality TV feud, or a viral social media post, but for a quiet yet powerful moment that resonated far beyond the confines of a studio set. During a recent roundtable discussion with producers of the long-running Bravo series Married to Medicine, Parks shut down a question that many felt crossed the line, doing so with the kind of grace, clarity, and conviction that has come to define her public persona in recent years. The moment occurred during a behind-the-scenes gathering intended to foster dialogue between cast members and producers about the future direction of the show. While Parks is not a regular cast member of Married to Medicine, her presence was invited as a guest speaker and cultural commentator, given her deep roots in Atlanta's social and professional circles and her own experience navigating the intersection of race, gender, and media representation on reality television. Known for her tenure on The Real Housewives of Atlanta, Parks has evolved from a reality star into a multifaceted figure, attorney, entrepreneur, advocate, and voice for Black women in entertainment. As the discussion unfolded, producers began probing the panel about the show's portrayal of Black professional women, particularly how personal drama is often amplified over professional accomplishments. Parks, seated with arms folded and eyes focused, listened intently as others shared their thoughts. Then, one producer posed a question that shifted the tone of the room. Do you think audiences are more interested in seeing Black women struggle in relationships than succeed in their careers? The room fell silent. It was a loaded question, one that, on the surface, seemed to invite reflection but carried an undercurrent of stereotype and reduction. It assumed a hierarchy of audience interest rooted in trauma and dysfunction rather than achievement and aspiration. It also implied that the network's storytelling choices were merely reflective of viewer demand, absolving producers of responsibility in shaping narratives. Parks didn't hesitate. Leaning forward, she said, "I appreciate the question, but I need to push back on the premise." Her voice was calm but firm, carrying the weight of someone who has spent years dissecting systemic bias in both legal and entertainment arenas. The idea that audiences are more interested in Black women failing in love than thriving in life, that's not a reflection of audience desire. That's a reflection of editorial choice. She paused, letting the words settle. Let me be clear, she continued. Black women are not inherently dramatic. We are not naturally prone to conflict. We are not more likely to have messy relationships than any other demographic. What we are is underrepresented in positions of power behind the camera. And when you don't have enough. I've been on reality TV, she said. I know how the editing works. I know how a 5-hour conversation can be cut down to 30 seconds that makes you look like a villain. I know how music cues, camera angles, and selective sound bites can turn a nuanced moment into a meme. So don't tell me audiences want to see us struggle. Audiences want authenticity. They want depth. They want to see us as full human beings. She then turned the question around. Instead of asking what audiences want, maybe we should be asking, what are we choosing to show them? And who benefits from showing Black women primarily through the lens of heartbreak and conflict? Her words hung in the air. Some nodded. Others scribbled notes. A few avoided eye contact. Parks wasn't done. She went on to point out that Married to Medicine had a unique opportunity, one that few shows possess. Here was a series centered on Black women who are doctors, surgeons, professors, and entrepreneurs. Women who have overcome systemic barriers to reach the upper echelons of their fields. And yet, season after season, the marketing, the episode titles, and the promotional clips often spotlighted arguments, romantic entanglements, and personal feuds. Why is the tagline for last season's finale, "Who's sleeping with whose husband," and not "which doctor just published a groundbreaking study," she asked. Why do we lead with scandal when we could be leading with excellence? She emphasized that there was nothing wrong with showing personal lives. After all, reality television thrives on intimacy and vulnerability. But balance was key. We can show love, loss, and laughter without reducing our lives to melodrama. We can be complex without being caricatures. One of the show's cast members, visibly moved, added, "Phaedra's right. I've had 3 peer-reviewed papers published in the last 2 years, and not one of them has been mentioned on the show. But my breakup? That got a 2-part special." Parks nodded. "And that's the problem. Your professional achievements are not side notes. They are the main event. And when we treat them as secondary, we send a message, both to the audience and to young black girls watching, that your career is less important than your love life." She then addressed the producers directly. "You have a responsibility. You're not just making entertainment. You're shaping perception. And right now, the perception being reinforced is that black women's value lies in their relationships, not their intellect, not their contributions to society." The room was quiet again, but this time it was a thoughtful silence, the kind that follows a truth that cannot be easily dismissed. Park softened her tone slightly. "I'm not here to attack anyone. I'm here because I believe in this show. I believe in its potential. But potential means nothing without intention. If we want to change the narrative, we have to be intentional about what stories we tell and how we tell them," she concluded. The response was immediate and overwhelmingly positive. Cast members expressed relief and gratitude. Several admitted they had long felt uncomfortable with how their professional lives were minimized. One said, "I've been afraid to speak up because I didn't want to seem ungrateful. But Phaedra just gave me permission to demand better." As for the producers, some were defensive at first, citing ratings and viewer engagement data. But Parks didn't back down. "Ratings don't exist in a vacuum," she countered. "They're shaped by what you put in front of people. You keep feeding them conflict, and they'll keep consuming it. But show them something different, something empowering, and you might be surprised what resonates." She cited the success of shows like Insecure and Abbott Elementary, which balance humor, heart, and honesty without resorting to stereotypes. People don't want to see black women fall apart. They want to see us rise. And when we do, they show up. By the end of the conversation, the tone had shifted from defensive to reflective. One producer admitted, "Maybe we've been playing it too safe, relying on tropes because they're familiar. But Phaedra's right, familiar doesn't mean right." Park's intervention wasn't just about one show. It was part of a larger cultural reckoning, one that has been building for years. Black women have long been subjected to narrow, often damaging portrayals in media: the angry black woman, the strong black woman who never breaks, the hypersexualized temptress, the loyal sidekick. These archetypes erase nuance and limit opportunity. Reality television, in particular, has been criticized for exploiting these tropes under the guise of unscripted drama. While the genre claims to show real life, it is, in fact, highly curated. Producers select footage, write storylines, and manipulate timelines to create tension. And when the cast is predominantly black women, those editorial decisions often reinforce harmful stereotypes. Parks has been vocal about this for years. In interviews, podcasts, and public appearances, she has spoken about the pressures of being a black woman on reality TV, how every word is scrutinized, every emotion amplified, every mistake magnified. She's also been open about her own journey, from being labeled crazy and manipulative during her time on RHOA, to reclaiming her narrative through education, advocacy, and entrepreneurship. Her evolution has been nothing short of remarkable. After her legal license was suspended due to an ethics violation involving client funds, a situation she has since taken responsibility for, many expected her to fade from the public eye. Instead, she doubled down. She returned to school, addressed her mistakes openly, and rebuilt her reputation with transparency and humility. Today, she's a sought-after speaker, a business owner, and a role model for accountability and growth. That same integrity was on full display during the Married to Medicine D.